Hello everyone, it's Annie. I'm here on this very cold first day of December with my Earl Grey, and I decided I want to film a cozy video and tell you all about my most anticipated book releases of the first quarter of 2024. So all of my anticipated books coming out in January, February, and March next year so that you can get some of your pre-orders in. So let's go. We'll start with January. Okay, so I have a lot in this video, so let's get started. First is a book that I actually pre-ordered, and I am very picky, so if I pre-order it, you know it's good. Don't Want You Like a Best Friend by Emma R. Alban, coming out January 9th. This is a debut. It's a historical romance featuring two Victorian debutantes who try and distract themselves from having to seek husbands by setting up their widowed parents, and instead find their perfect match in each other. So it's like Bridgerton and The Parent Trap together. It's also giving me Pride and Prejudice vibes because, you know, it's not the same era, but I love it. They're at a ball and the cover is so cute, and the title is from a Taylor Swift song. So this was like made for me. I cannot wait for this book, so I pre-ordered it from The Ripped Bodice. Support your indie bookstores. I'll have the pre-order link in the description as well because you get some fun prints and you also get the copy signed. So if you are very interested in this like I am, there you go, that's your chance. The next one is coming out January 16th, and it's Maud Horton's Glorious Revenge. This is about an Arctic expedition, which is why it's on my list, all right? And it's like a historical mystery. So when Maud receives a letter from the British Admiralty informing her of her younger sister's death, her world is shattered. Constance, her sister, had run away from her life in Victorian London 2 years ago, disguising herself as a boy to board the Makepeace, an expedition vessel bound for the Arctic's unexplored Northwest Passage. They claim her death was a tragic accident, but Maud knows when she's being deceived. So she goes to the Arctic to try and find her and figure out what's going on. This cover is okay. I like this cover way better. I don't know why. It really draws me in, like the vintage vibes of it. I really like it. And anything that has to do with the Arctic will interest me, as you may see in another book coming soon on this list. All right, then we have another January 16th book, Escaping Mr. Rochester. This is a fresh reimagining of Charlotte Bronte's classic novel, Jane Eyre. And obviously it's a Black reimagining, and also it is sapphic. So I'm always here for sapphic retellings of classic books. However, I have never read Jane Eyre, so let me know if I should read that before reading this book. I mean, I'm sure I should, but I'm still interested in this. It sounds really, really interesting, and just, again, those historical vibes. I mean, this cover is really beautiful, so I'm interested in it. Anything sapphic, you know I want to read. All right. Another one on January 16th, this is one of my most anticipated ones, is So Let Them Burn by Camilla Cole. This is a Jamaican-inspired fantasy following a God's-blessed heroine who's forced to choose between saving her sister or protecting her homeland. Perfect for fans of Iron Widow and The Priory of the Orange Tree. Those are two of my favorites, so this is gonna be perfect for me. It's also sapphic, okay? So this is absolutely one of my highly, highly anticipated ones on this list, one of my most anticipated. And then January 18th, we're getting to the end of January. This is Feybound by Sarah El Arifi, and you may have heard of her before. She is the author of the awesome epic fantasy trilogy, The Final Strife. And this is something, it's also sapphic, duh. Feybound, the title, kind of gives me fae and fairy vibes, and I don't usually like those kind of books, but I am adding this to my TBR because I absolutely love the Ending Fire trilogy, you know, The Final Strife. I love that, so I trust Sarah El Arifi. So it follows Euron, who is a warrior in the Elven army and has known nothing but violence. Her sister is trying to make a living as a diviner, seeking prophecies of a better future. When a fatal mistake leads to Euron's exile, they're both forced into the terrifying wilderness beyond their borders. There, they encounter the impossible, the Fae Court. The Fae haven't been seen for a millennium, but now they are thrust into their seductive world, torn between their loyalty to each other, their homeland, and their hearts. Interesting. I also really like storylines with like sister relationships, so I feel like this could be a winner for me. And then we have a book I really am not seeing many people talk about. This is Voyage of the Damned by Frances White. This is a murder mystery on a ship full of magical passengers. If Agatha Christie wrote a fantasy. Okay, interesting. So for 1,000 years, Concordia has maintained peace between its provinces. To mark this incredible feat, the Emperor's ship embarks upon a 12-day voyage to the Sacred Goddess's Mountain. Aboard, there are heirs of the 12 provinces, each graced with a unique and secret magical ability. Except one, Ganymedes Pissarro, class clown, slacker, and disappointment. When a beloved heir is murdered, however, everyone is a suspect. Stuck at sea and surrounded by powerful people without a blessing, odds of survival are slim. But as the bodies pile higher, Ganymedes must become the hero he was not born to be. Can he unmask the killer before this bloody crusade reaches the shores of Concordia? So this is tagged as LGBT, which is why I added it. And also the cover, like that fish is just so cool. Chickpea, sit down. Good girl. Yeah, I mean, locked room mystery is always fun, and make it queer. All right, awesome. I mean, I'm into it. And this is coming January 18th. And then the last book of January that I want to talk about is Exordia by Seth Dickinson, which is another one that I pre-ordered because, of course, Seth Dickinson wrote the Baru Cormorant series. And I don't know why he's writing this instead of finishing that series, but needless to say, I'm excited. Okay, this cover, very eye-catching. All right, so this follows Anna Sinjari, refugee, survivor of genocide, disaffected office worker. She has a close encounter that reveals universe-threatening stakes. While humanity reels from the disaster, she must join a small team of civilians, soldiers, and scientists to investigate a mysterious broadcast and unknowable horror. If they can manage to face their own demons, they just might save the world. I also know that this is sapphic, and that the romance is with a serpent alien. So that's interesting. This is going to be amazing. I already know it. That's why I pre-ordered it. Over 100 pages, coming January 23rd. I simply cannot wait for this. I'm so excited. All right, now we're into February. This is a YA book called A Sufferer's Guide to the Antarctic. So there you go. There's that other Antarctic book by Yishin Lai. And this is about a teen's fight for suffrage turning into one of survival when her crew's Antarctic expedition ship gets stuck in the ice in a historical fiction novel. So very interesting. This is a feminist historical fiction, and the cover is, oh my god, it's so striking. The green lettering, I absolutely love this art. As soon as I saw this cover, I was like, I need to add this to my to-read list because this is exactly what I want to read. I'm so excited, and it comes out February 13th. And then February 27th, we have Wandering Stars, which is Tommy Orange's follow-up to There, which was an amazing book. I have never met anyone who didn't give it 5 stars. It was amazing. Oh god, this is so long. Basically, it traces the legacies of the Sand Creek Massacre of 1864 and the Carlisle Indian Industrial School through to the shattering aftermath of Orville Redfeather's shooting in There. Yes, so I'm not sure if this is a direct sequel to There, but it does seem that you have to read There in order to not be spoiled for There. And I mean, if you haven't read that yet, then what are you doing? It's very short, and it's one of the best books I've ever read, so you need to read it. And then we have Fathom Folk, also on the 27th. This is a myth-inflected story of revolution and magic, set against the glittering, semi-submerged city of Tiankawi, perfect for fans of Jade City and the Bone Shard Daughter. Yeah, so as soon as you compare anything to Jade City, of course I'm there. The author's Instagram also compares this to The Legend of Korra. She says she was really highly influenced by it, and I love Korra so much, so yeah, we have a hot-headed bi female main character in this book, just like Korra, so I am so excited for that. So, in the semi-flooded city, humans are quite literally peering down from skyscrapers and aerial walkways on the Fathom Folk, who are sirens, sea witches, kelpies, and kappas who live in the polluted waters below. For half-siren Mira, promotion to captain of the border guard means an opportunity to reform. At last, she has the ear of the city council and a chance to lift the repressive laws that restrict Fathom Folk. But if earning the trust and respect of her human colleagues wasn't hard enough, everything Mira has worked towards is put in jeopardy when a water dragon is exiled to the city. Interesting. So that's all I'm gonna read, but it seems absolutely amazing. Gorgeous cover. I pre-ordered this. Okay, so then another book I pre-ordered is Daughter of the Bone Forest by Jasmine Skye. This is a YA fantasy, and it follows Rosie, who is a bone familiar, gifted with the power to shift into animals marked with exposed bone. She spends most of her days in the magical bone forest, caring for her feral grandmother and hiding her powers to avoid conscription by the Witch King's army. Until Princess Shaw, a witch known as Death's heir, visits the forest. When Rosie saves Shaw's life, the princess offers her the chance to attend the prestigious Witch Hall School as payment. Though Rosie is wary of Shaw's intentions, she cannot pass up the opportunity to find the cure to her grandmother's affliction. But at Witch Hall, Rosie finds herself embroiled in political games she doesn't understand. Shaw wants Rosie for her entourage, a partner to help lead the coming war. But all Rosie wants is to stay out of trouble until she can graduate. But she can't deny her attraction to Shaw. Will Rosie give in to her destiny, or will the Bone Forest call her home once and for all? This cover, again, really caught my eye. I mean, it's just gorgeous. And this is another pre-order campaign, so if you order it, you get some art prints and a signed copy. So that's why I pre-ordered it. And you know, I just love magical sapphic romance books. This is what I love, so I want to read it. All right, and now we have a sapphic space opera, Red Sight by Meredith Mooring. I am very excited by this. Meredith Mooring is an author I followed on Twitter for a while. She's blind, and there is blind representation in this book, which is amazing. It follows Corinna, who has simple stay on the Navitas. Stay out of trouble and stay alive. She may be a red seer, a blind priestess with the power to manipulate space-time, but she is the weakest in her order, or so she has been raised to believe. As she takes her place as a navigator on an Imperium ship, Corinna's full destiny is revealed to blood brimming with magic. She's meant to become a weapon of the Imperium and pawn for the order that raised her. But when the ship is attacked by a notorious pirate, Corinna's world is ripped apart. Interesting. And this is sapphic. I'm just really excited for this. I'm not a big fan of the cover though. I don't know, something about it is really awkward to me, like the layout of it, but I'm very excited for this story. So next, we have a book that doesn't have great ratings, even though it hasn't come out yet. It is The Moorings of Mackerel Sky by MZ, who is a debut novelist. And this is a queer fantasy. So the synopsis is a little bit confusing, but it's set in a close-knit Maine seaside town, famous for its infamous mermaids. So there are mermaids in this, and there is queer love in this, and just, I'm really interested in the vibe of small town Maine. I really want to move to Maine someday and live there, and this cover just is absolutely gorgeous and really caught my eye. So this is one that I'm absolutely gonna read, even though the ratings aren't that great right now, but I think it's gonna hit for me. Okay, so now for the March books. First is We Ate the Dark by Mallory Pearson. This is also sapphic. It is a horror book, so that's exciting. It is about 5 years after Sophia Lyon disappeared. Her remains are found stuffed into the hollow of a tree, bursting through the floorboards of an abandoned house. Can you get any creepier? That's just so cool. The women who loved her flock home to the North Carolina hills to face their grief. Frankie, her twin, is in mourning. Poppy is heartbroken. Cass has never felt more homesick, and Mario knows something the rest of them don't. Determined to find Sophia's murderer, they share more than a need to see justice done for their friend. Each woman is haunted, bound to the next by something both cruel and kind, and now stalked by a shadowy presence they've yet to understand. Ooh, okay, so it does seem that maybe there's some supernatural element to it, which is pretty cool. I'm into it. All right. Next, we have another dark sapphic book. This is fantasy, though. It is A Dark and Drowning Tide by Alison Saft. A sharp-tongued folklorist must pair up with her academic rival to solve their mentor's murder. Very interesting. This cover is one of the most beautiful illustrations I've ever seen in my life. And I need this. They're academic rivals? Like that, enemies to lovers. I'm obsessed with it. And I really need this. I need this dark academia vibe book. Even though it's coming out in March, it's not a very dark academia vibe month, but I'm excited for it. And then we have a sequel. This is The Truth of the Eleke, which is the sequel to The Lies of Ajungo. And this is a novella. Okay. So I'm not going to tell you really that much about it, but it is by Moses Oseotomi, and I absolutely love The Lies of the Ajungo, one of my favorite books or novellas that I read last year. So I absolutely need to read this, no question. All right, on to March 19th. We have Floating Hotel by Grace Curtis, and they wrote Frontier, which I read this year. So Floating Hotel just sounds like even more up my alley. I love it so much. It's a cozy sci-fi novel. It's not a debut. Welcome to the Grand Abayona, home of the finest food, the sweetest service, and the very best views the galaxy has to offer. All year it moves from planet to planet, system to system, pampering guests across the furthest reaches of the Milky Way. The last word in suborbital luxury, and an absolute magnet for intrigue. Intrigue such as, why are there love poems in the lobby inbox? How many Imperial spies are currently on board? What is the true purpose of the Problem Solvers Conference? And perhaps most pertinently, who is driving the ship? So every guest and a staff member has a secret and a universe unto themselves. At the center of these interweaving lives and interlocking mysteries stands Carl, one-time stowaway, long-time manager, devoted caretaker to the hotel. But as forces beyond his comprehension converge on the Abayona, he has to face one final, when is it time to let go? I assume that's supposed to be one final question. This sounds amazing to me. Sounds very cozy. Sounds like it's going to be a kind of story within a story novel, which is something I just love. This cover, gorgeous, absolutely phenomenally illustrated cover. Those colors are just, I can't stop looking at it. And I'm gonna read this as soon as it comes out. There's no question. The next book is Rainbow Black by Maggie Thrash. It follows Lacey Bond, a 13-year-old girl in New Hampshire growing up in the tranquility of her hippie parents' rural daycare center. Then the satanic panic hits. It's the summer of 1990 when Lacey's parents are handcuffed, flung into the county jail, and faced with a torrent of jaw-dropping accusations as part of a mass hysteria. When a horrific murder brings Lacey to the breaking point, she makes a ruthless choice that will haunt her for decades. So that's it. That's a very short synopsis. It is tagged as lesbian, sapphic, you know, that's great. It sounds like a really intense thriller. And this is a setting, the 90s Satanic Panic, that I have never read from before. So I'd love to learn more about it. And it just sounds really dark and fun. And then we have The Last Blood Carver by Vanessa Lee. This is a YA fantasy, and it follows Nika, who is a blood carver, a cold-hearted, ruthless being who can alter human biology with just a touch. Okay, so in the harsh industrial city of Teumas, she is seen not as a healer, but a monster. And in the city's criminal underbelly, the rarest of monsters are traded for gold. When she's finally caught by the infamous butcher, she's auctioned off to the highest bidder, a mysterious girl garbed in white. But this strange buyer doesn't want to use her as an assassin or trophy piece. She intends to use Nika's blood carving to heal the last person who saw her father's killer. Ooh! Oh my gosh! I must have read this synopsis before, but I don't remember. And that's awesome. That sounds amazing. Very interesting stuff. Very interesting magic system. And it sounds like a murder mystery fantasy. I am very much here for this. Okay. And then we have The Woods All Black, which is by Lee Mandello. Lee Mandello wrote Feed Them Silence, which is one of my favorite novellas that I read this year. And instead of being a sci-fi like that one though, this is a historical fiction horror book. And also a trans romance, which is cool. Okay, set in the 1920s Appalachia. So it follows Leslie, who's assigned to the backwoods township of Spar Creek by the Frontier Nursing Service, under its usual vaccinate the flock, birth babies, and weather the judgments of churchy locals who look at him and see a failed woman. Ooh. So we have a trans protagonist here, that's great. Forged in the fires of the Western Front and reborn in the cafes of Paris, Leslie believes he can handle whatever's thrown at him. But Spar Creek holds a darkness beyond his nightmares. Something ugly festers within the local congregation, and its malice has focused on a young person they insist is an unruly tomboy who must be brought to heel. Very interesting. This sounds very Southern Gothic, very much tackling toxic religiosity. Ooh, I love this. I am very interested in this. This is another novella, which I love. And I can't wait. It sounds amazing. Okay, so we have a few more books to go. First, we have another young adult. This is Where Sleeping Girls Lie. And I am really excited for this. This is by the author of Ace of Spades, which I have never read, but this sounds kind of more up my alley. This is a murder mystery, and it's also sapphic. All right, this follows Said Hussein, who is starting her third year of high school at the prestigious Alfred Nobel Academy boarding school. She was homeschooled all her life and feels like a magnet for misfortune. And when she gets there, her roommate Elizabeth disappears after her first night, and people think she had something to do with the disappearance. So Said catches the attention of the most popular girls in school, collectively known as the Unholy Trinity, and they bring her into their fold. So I really like books that have this concept. It's kind of like Heather's musical or Mean Girls. I'm really into that. Even Bunny, it has some similarity to Bunny. Yeah, and a student is found dead and Said has to investigate. And this just sounds amazing. The cover is stunning. I mean, that is just amazing. So I'm really, really excited for this, and that is March 19th as well. And then we have March 24th, The Song of the Huntress by Lucy Holland. This is set in Britain in 60 AD. Hoping to save her lover, land, and people from the Romans, Herla makes a desperate pact with the king of the otherworld. But years pass unheeded in his realm, and she escapes to find everyone she loved long dead. Cursed to wield his blade, she becomes Lord of the Hunt, and for centuries she rides reaping wanderers' souls until the night she meets a woman on a bloody battlefield, a Saxon queen with ice blue eyes. So I'm pretty sure this is sapphic, and I just can't wait for this. C.L. Clarke, the author of The Unbroken, yeah, look at their review. I saw them raving about it on Instagram. They're just obsessed with this book, and that makes me so much more excited for it. I need an ancient British feminist lesbian fantasy. I need it. And then we have a YA horror. This is Dead Girls Walking by Sammy Ellis. This is about Temple Baker, whose father was a serial killer, and he was convicted for murdering 20 people. Wow. Some say he was possessed by a demon, and some say they never even found all of his victims. Despite everything, though, Temple never believed that her dad killed her mom. Ooh, okay. And it turns out the farm that was once her father's hunting grounds and her home has been turned into an overnight camp for queer, horror-obsessed girls. This reminds me of You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Barron a little bit. So Temple poses as a camp counselor to go digging in the woods. While she's not used to hanging out with girls her own age and feels ambivalent at best about these true crime enthusiasts, she tries her best to fit in and keep her true identity hidden. But when a girl turns up dead in the woods, she fears that one of her father's fans might be mimicking his crime, and she has to figure out what's going on. And it's sapphic, and it sounds really scary, and it sounds like something I'm definitely going to pick up, no question about it. And that is March 26th. Last book of this video. We made it. This is a genre-bending book, okay? This is The Emperor and the Endless Palace by Justinian Huang. And it is genre-bending because it has fantasy. It has sci-fi, time travel, historical fiction, romance, thriller aspects, okay? So this is going to be wild. In the year 4 BC, an ambitious courtier is called upon to seduce the young emperor, but quickly discovers they are both ruled by blood, sex, and intrigue. And then jump to 1740, a lonely innkeeper agrees to help a mysterious visitor procure a rare medicine, only to unleash an otherworldly terror instead. And in present-day LA, a college student meets a beautiful stranger and cannot shake the feeling they've met before. Across these seemingly unrelated timelines woven together only by the twists and turns of fate, two men are reborn lifetime after lifetime, within the treacherous walls of an ancient palace and the boundless forests of the Asian wilderness, to the heart-pounding cement floors of underground rave scenes. Our lovers are inexplicably drawn to each other, constantly tested by the worlds around them. As their lives may intertwine, they begin to realize the power of their undying love, a power that transcends time itself, but one that might consume them both. Yeah, this sounds amazing. Not gonna lie though, I was attracted to this book simply because the cover is stunning. Like, these cover artists need to be paid more. I'm just saying. It looks really, really good, and I'm excited for it. Alright, so that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got some new books for your TBR out of this video, and if you have some books for the first quarter of 2024 that you think I would like and that aren't on this list, please let me know in the comments below because I would love your recommendations. Alright, thank you so much again. If you like this video, please like and subscribe for more bookish videos, and I'll see you next time. Bye!